Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host Matt Marrero along with other host
Tristan Walter.
And what are we doing today, Tristan?
I don't know, you tell me.
I don't know, you tell me.
Well, how can we both not know? It's not like it's a secret mission to steal some plans for a giant battle station or anything.
I would say it's largely forgettable. Like no one knew it ever happened. No one talked about it till like 30 years later, so
You mean like no one
I'd
survived?
assume. Yeah. That's sad.
Yeah, well, shit happens.
Is it bad that, like, it was just, like, the robot and the monk were the ones that hit everyone else? I was like, man, that sucks. But the robot and the monk.
Yeah, no, K2 hit me pretty hard, too. That's basically the moment I realized, no one's getting out of this alive, are they? They just killed off the comic relief first. Holy shit.
Yeah, that
I'm
was...
serious.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. It was a very strange situation. So I wasn't able to see the movie when it first came out in theaters. So that's why we're doing it now, because it just came out on DVD and Blu-ray. And we're doing, obviously, as you can tell by the title, we're doing Rogue One, which I don't know if it's funny. I'm not going to try and, like, pick at little things in the movie, but, like, one little thing that I don't know why I don't like the title. Not Rogue One, just a Star Wars story. For some odd reason, it sounds like Christmas, and then everyone you get to know in the movie dies.
Yeah,
so I don't know if
that
that's
happen every Christmas? Oh,
fair enough. But what? No, but seriously though, no, but it's a very strange movie. I don't think people were as divided on this as they were on Episode 7. But clearly amongst our friends group, there's a divide that Tristan doesn't want anyone to forget. But it's strange though, because you can hear him go silent. You heard it, nothing, and so I don't know. This was a very strange movie for me because what?
It feels like there is, for people who saw it, there wasn't. At least for me, it's just like any other Star Wars movie that comes out. It's like you either love it or you hate it, and I feel like it's always going to be like that.
But I disagree with you entirely because, like, then again, I wasn't around for any potential backlash with 4, 5, and 6. But I hear nothing but praise about 4, 5, and 6 unless people are really just trying to, like, I don't want to say if they're trying to go against the grain or anything, because you can like whatever you want to like for any reason you want to like it. But I feel like people that go against 4, 5, and 6 do it in a way that some people are a little bit too edgy.
I mean, I've heard a lot of shit against Return of the Jedi, the way things were wrapped up, but...
Well, yeah. Well, okay, fair enough. Never mind. I mean, we even talked about that on the podcast. But when it comes to Episode 7, I feel like there was a lot more divide there than Rogue One. I heard a lot more praise from people for Rogue One than I did for Episode 7.
Yeah.
So I was going into this very hyped, and that's why I told you midway through the movie that I wasn't as hyped as I wanted to be, because that's the problem with me coming in the movies. If they're a bit too hyped for me beforehand, the second I see them, then all of a sudden they're not what everyone kind of shaped them up to be. So you and a lot of people really built me up for this film. And this film was not terrible in any way, really, at least in my opinion. Like, nothing about it made me sit there and go, oh, you should skip this, it shouldn't be seen. But I do think that at least, I think it might just be the premise itself is something that I don't know if it's a good movie premise. Do you know what I mean by that or no? Not when I say movie, I mean like, lengthwise.
For me, it came from everyone would always ask, why is there such, everyone would always complain about the Death Star.
They would shit on it. Yeah,
how the hell can this band of, 20-something-year-olds from, backwater planets come in and blow up the ultimate military vehicle in the galaxy? It's like, well, here you go. Can you shut up now?
Yeah, no,
and
well,
I
it was
don't
funny.
mean to take that kind of tone, but it gets hard. It gets hard being a fan of the series, and I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I get that. Not everyone's gonna like it, and that's fine. But I don't know. It gets hard after a while being a fan of the series and then being told your movie tastes are shitty. Not that you.
You struggle so much, Tristan. You struggle so much in life. Anyway, my thing is
don't fucking. Whatever.
Because Tristan, you have real problems going on that we talk about. It's not like you're on the. You're not I understand that you have actual problems going on in life, but you're sitting here just being the Star Wars fan, man. It's every day the Trekkies would just throw math problems at us, and we'd be like, the Force is with me, the Force is with me, the Force is with me.
Yeah, well then I guess I'm just a shitty fanboy then. Sorry.
Okay. Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. I will literally quote Dragon Ball Z for the rest of my life. But No. But here's the thing, though, right? I want to definitely agree with you here, though. I'm agreeing with you. Just your take on it, I'm sitting here dude, chill. But I agree with you, actually, 100%. Because even people who aren't that into the series, it feels like their first go-to joke is just hey, why was that thing with the Death Star? I mean, military, empire ruling the galaxy, but a little tiny error that small? What's the deal? It feels like everyone would jump on that. So I actually agree with you 100%. It is good to have this movie. I just feel like the story itself, the plot, would have been better for, let's say, a Tales of Star Wars series or something like that. You know what I mean? I do feel like it was a bit stretched out. Also, in some ways, it was a bit stretched out, but in other ways, I kind of wanted to learn more about some of the characters. It sucks that I think we just got to see brief glimpses into these people's lives, and they just die, and we're never going to see them again.
I mean, in a way, I feel like that gives a point to the movie.
With being about war.
Yeah, it's you only get to see this little window of these people, these little fragments of their lives, and then they are gone. And it's that's a story about a lot of people that, even just in the Star Wars universe, a lot of people that join the rebellion. It's not everybody gets to be the Han Solo or the Luke Skywalker or the Leia Organa. Not everyone gets to remember you. Sometimes you do a heroic act and you just get vaporized and no one fucking remembers you.
Oh yeah, no. The thing is, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have died. I'm saying that was a great decision, because then you'd be saying, wait, so are they going to be in Episode 7? What's going on here?
Right. Yeah.
So I'm happy that they or Episode 8, sorry. So I'm happy that they closed up everything by killing them off. My whole thing is just as much as I did like the monk, actually no. Is he confirmed as a monk, or did you just call him that, or the internet called him that, and we've just attached it to it?
No, I mean, he was once a temple guard for the.
Thank you. Right.
Yeah. So in all intents and purposes, yeah, calling him a monk is actually kind of accurate in this sense. No, he's not a Jedi.
No.
He did protect the temple at one given point.
Right. But what I was going to say was that I just feel like I want to know more about him. I'm a little frustrated that we didn't get to know more about certain people. I'm happy that they changed, let's say, right, where, you hear, it was I can't believe I've forgotten his name. I'm going to call him French Mercenary. French Mercenary, and by the way, that's one, so the one thing I can complain about, and I think, I believe you can agree with this too, and mind you, this is my first time seeing it, so you've seen it a few times at least, so I know that it might be easier for you to grasp, but I do feel like the opening of the movie, jumping from place to place really fast, was a problem. Now, here's the thing.
I will agree with that. It is a bit jarring at the beginning of the movie when they jump around a lot and you're going from planet to planet.
It needed to be done. It needed to be done, but it's still a problem. And I also think another problem is that the way the audio was with the movie, and the way something about how the actors said certain lines and certain names, and also maybe just the names given. what ends up happening after a while with certain sci-fi series as they go on and they have to expand their universe, they end up coming up with names and phrases that just sound weird to you if they're not the ones that you know about from like the original. So like hearing things like, Death Star, it's like, yeah, that's two English sounding words, Death and Star. Boom. But then you add other people's names in there and other kind of factions and galaxies and planets, and then it just really, especially how the actors were speaking and everything. And I have to admit, I sound like an idiot saying this, I'm sure, but I do believe some people at home would probably agree. It felt like some things just kind of blurred past you. Yeah. So, and mind you, I'm paying attention. So it's not even like Matt, how about you pay attention? No, actually, It wasn't like put the phone down. Like, no, I'm doing this for a show. So of course I'm sitting there trying to get everything in. But it just kind of felt like they were just like, have we gone to the gobbledygook? No, the bloop-de-doop. What about herp the schnurp? Herp the schnurp. And it kind of just like word past you, and it was just like, okay, let's calm down, guys. Let's define some of these terms. Can we get like a legend up there? Could we get like, could we just have like Star Wars dictionary going by, just like definition? Because legit, I would pause and like, I would pause it and I would do like that whole like frame by frame, step by step. I would do it just to see what certain. Okay, yes, define that term just like that. That's what it will always be. Perfect.
Right.
Because it felt like some things were a little bit too like. It's funny. I said that it would have been. I already said that the plot was too drawn out. Yet I'm still saying I would have preferred another 20 minutes. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Well, in that
just
sense,
because it did feel like.
It usually boils down to me like, a big stories like this are hard to tell in a 2-hour format on the big screen as a movie because there are details that you're not going to get. And usually, at least with Star Wars, someone usually throws a book out, either, a few months before or a few months after or maybe a year after, like, the films come out. And, that's, like, I guess you could consider that in a sense like DLC, like, buy the book to understand more about the movie. But, I mean, other authors usually try to come in to, like, I guess maybe if they enjoy the story enough or if they see a hole or even just an opportunity to write a book, like, they'll kind of fill it in with more details here and there. So.
Mm-hmm. So are you saying that the creators of this movie left a small hole that an author is going to have to use a novelization to try and explain?
Right. No,
and get
they're not
into the hole that was left by the. Are you trying to say that the creators designed a small hole?
Oh, dear God.
Took you long enough. You were getting pissed. You were just like, they didn't make inherent plot holes, Matt. And I'm like, don't rip your shirt just yet. I'm referencing the Death Star.
Yeah.
Don't rip your shirt. You already did it, didn't you?
It's too late for that, but
Damn it.
That's neither here nor there.
Okay, so I have to be honest. Them bringing back Jimmy Smits made me really happy. Which, if you're like, who? Leia's adopted dad. Not Leia. Not Leia. Sorry, I meant Organa.
No.
You know what I'm thinking.
Yes, I know who you mean. Bail Organa.
Yeah, I know. Yes.
Yes.
I didn't mean Leia. My bad. Well, actually, no, did I?
No. Yes, you had it right. You mean the actor? Yes, that they brought him back for it. Yes, I was.
Jimmy Smits is the actor's name. Yes, I said right. Jimmy Smits, and then I said who his character is meant to be, and you're like, what? I'm like, yeah, that's the actor's name, Jimmy Smits.
Yes.
Because he used to be on NYPD Blue. My dad watched that.
He's been in a lot of stuff, actually. He was in The West Wing.
Oh, shit. But anyway, so, I was a really big fan of him coming back because I think I said to you at one point before I'd seen the movie, like, there has to be some kind of small connection other than it being a prequel. Like, it's just weird that, characters from, like, 1, 2, and 3 wouldn't show up in this. I know many of them. Most are dead.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not saying I wanted, like, an Obi-Wan appearance or anything like that, because I think that would have been too much.
He's not. He's basically not in the fight at this point.
Yeah, no, he's a fucking hermit. But
or he is,
I would have
but
just
in a different way.
Oh, fair enough. But yeah, no. So I was just really looking forward to what characters the movie would bring, because I don't know, like I would have felt awkward if there was no one from 1, 2, and 3, you know?
Mm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're supposed to bridge the gap between both. Not everyone's dead. Believe me, fucking many, right? But not everyone's dead.
Well, I mean, Vader's here too, so...
Well, he's not from 1, 2, and 3. That's Anakin. Anakin died. Vader's born. Oh, actually, fair enough. You're right. Shit, that cameo at the end. Fuck, you're right. One thing So here's another thing I'm going to complain about. It's funny, too. Matt, did you like this movie? Yes. So here's another thing I'm going to complain about. And this is the weirdest complaint, by the way. Or maybe other people have said this, too. I don't know if you felt the same way, though. The lighting that they used with Vader, in some respects, not in every single one, but in some scenes, it was like, dude, this entire movie is CGI'd to fuck. Not saying that's something I enjoy, but it is, right? Why would the lighting make your helmet not look like it matches the cape and the suit, and then the cape looks weird?
So you're saying his costume just looked weird?
Yeah, really. Like, at least at one point. It was when they had the red background and he was talking. Oh, it was the bad pun one.
Yes. Oh, okay. Thank you. You thought it was a bad pun too. Because holy crap.
Here's the thing. I loved it, just not from Vader. Like, that's some shit I would say. Like, Vader. Like, that's some shit I would say on the podcast.
Yeah, like, I gotta be real, like, that was, I loved this whole movie, but that scene, it was such a good Vader scene, until he makes the fucking pun, and it ruined the whole goddamn scene for me. I'm like, why? Vader doesn't make puns!
I was confused, because I was like, so wait, does he understand that his kid survived? Because he's a dad, making puns like that. I was like, you're a father, and you know it. Don't lie to me. Oh, no, my wife and my children are dead. No, they're not. No, they're not. You're a dad. Actually, I'm pretty sure when he was in the pod with all the water surrounding him, you know, regenerating him, I'm pretty sure I saw a dad bod under there. That was a dad bod. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a dad.
I mean, I would have said more of like a Deadpool bod, but, you know, whatever.
Dadpool.
Oh, God!
But, yeah, so now that I talk about what I don't like, and there's more, but let me jump to something that I do like. Matt, what do you like? Well, other than, you said it was K2? Was that his name?
Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot his name.
Yeah, K2SO.
He was the best. He was one of the best things in this movie.
Yeah. He was.
I have to say, yes. Another good thing is this idea that there's even a split in the Rebel Alliance itself. I think is great because from a movie perspective, not from an expanded universe perspective, because I'm sure you know more about the Rebel Alliance than I do. But from my perspective, as someone who has only seen the movies and is currently watching Clone Wars, I don't know much about the Rebels, right? Other than they are rebels. And we like the rebels because they're fighting against the evil empire, but they all unite to fight the empire. And I like that this movie was kind of showing you, like, that's not exactly true, because even amongst rebels, you can disagree on how to do things.
Yeah.
I think it was nice. What?
I mean, that's a big part of, Saw Gerrera's character coming in. It's like you said, not everybody agrees on the course of action to take, and where do you draw the line between fighting the Empire and becoming just an alternate version of it, or, looking at your face in the mirror and it's like you become the enemy that you've sworn to destroy.
Giving him a fucking breathing apparatus, I was like, y'all motherfuckers are pushing this, like, hard, but I like it.
Yeah.
No, they fucking had him walking around with an oxygen tank, and I'm just like, just fucking do the Vader. Just do Vader breathing without realizing it, please, just once. But, no, I really like the actor's portrayal of this character because I've seen him in a lot of different things. Usually, it's funny, they've parodied his work in police shows. I forgot what specific ones. In American Dad, where he's voiced over himself. Have you ever seen American Dad episodes where there's an African American officer who kind of like, it's like a really awkward officer where it's like, oh, it's like, I remember they banned trans fats in one episode, so you couldn't, have trans fats in their the town of, I think it was like Langley Falls. So it was like, oh, we have to get it in from another town, and then they were trying to like import it in illegally, and then his character, who's voiced over by him, who again is a parody of characters he usually plays on television shows like police shows, procedurals, is there like, oh, you're trying to smuggle these in? And this is obviously like 10 or so years ago, so it's very interesting to see him in Star Wars now. Same thing with, okay, by the way, one other thing I'm not a big fan of in this movie, I feel like I don't ever really get everyone's name fully. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. And even I felt that way at first, too. But this was one thing that I thought of to kind of...
No, I'm just... Well, no, I understand why they wouldn't. Like, I'm just saying it sucks. So please, can you help me with the main character's name? Because it's not Ray. Like, despite my brain telling me it's Ray.
Jyn,
thank you.
Jyn Erso.
Yes, Jyn Erso, thank you. So at Jyn, the thing with her, right, I love her dad, right, not only as a character, but I love her dad's actor, because her dad's actor was actually Hannibal Lecter in the TV show Hannibal. So seeing him there first, eating people, it was very interesting
to see him as a peaceful farming man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny. He worked for the Empire at one point, and I'm like, I knew it. And then it's just like, but he didn't really want to, and I'm like, yeah, I don't buy it. No, funny. He didn't really want to work for the Empire. He didn't want to at all. And in my head, I'm like, in his head, it's like, do it. Anyway.
Well, because that's another thing. Like, they show you that, not everybody in the Rebel Alliance is exactly a picture-perfect hero, but nor is everyone in the Empire this picture-perfect monster either. Granted, they both have both of those, but, yeah.
It's interesting because, even people, even the it was very interesting you mentioning that statement or that sentence, because when you look at when the entire room of people, right, the entire crew, and the man in white is what I'll refer to him as until you give me a name that I'll forget. When he...
You mean Krennic?
Yes, thank you, Krennic. When
the director
when all
who was
of
building the Death Star?
Yes.
Yeah.
When all of them looked at
Krennic.
the destruction... Yes, thank you, Krennic. When all of them looked at the destruction that the Death Star created, none of them had glee that you would think the people making such a thing would have.
Right. And Krennic just goes, oh, it's beautiful. And it's like, what the fuck?
Well, yes.
I halfway expected one of the officers to just have that face, like looking at him like, dude, what the fuck?
But at first, there was this look of like he didn't smile with glee like you would think. I don't know. I guess maybe they wanted to have it be a bit under, because it was very interesting. Like obviously, it's not like you're right. That is true. But the people around him more so. If you focus on them, they didn't seem like, yeah, we made it work, hooray! Like because you would think, oh yes, the Empire. They're all like, yeah, party. We're gonna kill millions. Like it wasn't this feel. It was just business as usual. This is what we have to do to survive. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that sometimes it feels like that's half the people working in the Empire. It's like, I'm doing this because I don't want to get killed myself. It's like, well, I mean, fair enough.
Now, I have a question about the troopers that showed up in the first 5 minutes with Krennic.
Yeah.
What's their names? Like what do they
troopers.
Call them? So then they are Death Troopers. Yeah. Oh, you were telling me about Death Troopers because there's those Death Troopers, and then there's also the name in the expanded universe that there was these Death Troopers, but they were zombies, correct? Or
right. And I'm not sure that they called them Death Troopers, but that was what came to mind when I saw them. So I don't know what they actually refer to them as in the book, but.
Okay.
But yeah.
Just in general, it'd be really funny. Just Disney. Do Death Troopers exist in the expanded universe? They actually do in this one random novel that was once released in about 1985. Great, we're going to nuke the whole thing. Like, just, there's a lot of history. No, we're well aware. We're just going to nuke the whole thing. Yeah. No, but I'm sorry, everyone. I hate that. I always have to bring it up. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's I just feel like it was very interesting looking at, like you said, looking at the Empire in this film, and again looking even at the Rebel Alliance and how apparently it used to be called the Alliance and now they're the Rebels. I mean, technically they're both. When everyone refers to them, they refer to them as the Rebel Alliance. But apparently, from the way Jyn was talking about it, they used to be the Alliance, and then they became the Rebels. Like, I think it was really cool. Like, they've always been prefer more.
They've always been the Alliance, and like they have always referred to themselves as the Alliance. Like, usually anyone Imperial or anyone that doesn't want to have them, be associated with them, will call them, oh, they're just rebels. So it's interchangeable in the sense, because even the admiral that comes in, he's also calamari, not Akbar that you see in later movies, you see in Return of the Jedi, but this was Admiral Raddus, I think. He introduces himself as, this is the Rebel Alliance, as they fly in over Scarif. So, like, it depends on, who's talking, really. It's kind of interchangeable in a way.
Okay. But, no, I only bring this up because I would really enjoy, right? Like, I would just love to death if we could just get more out of the Rebels, as in like a TV show. And you're going to be like, there's actually an animated one that's called Rebels, but I'm going to tell you to shut up because, yeah, I look, I haven't seen it, so I don't know how far it goes into this stuff. But I really would like more of a. Well, actually, then I have a question for you. Just a quick one, no spoilers. Star Wars Rebels. Is it about how the Rebels started?
They get to that
as a whole,
and they actually even tie into this movie.
Oh, okay. Fuck yeah, then. All right, we'll get to that after we end up doing Clone Wars. But yeah, no, I'm just bringing it up because I really want a look into that. Because after seeing this film, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I want to see more about the Rebels. Because in my head, it was always just like, yeah, Episode 3 happened. Vader was like, hey, I'm gonna Vader this shit up. And then people were just like, wait. Yeah, and people were like, you know what? I don't like that. I'm going to be a rebel. And then that's kind of how everything started. Because, it's hard to tell, like, well, it's how long it is between each movie, pretty much, give or take, right?
Vaguely.
But when vaguely, yeah. Episode 7, I think, is a bit of a longer stretch because of how old the people have to get, right? Like the kids who become, But when it comes to, like, 3 to 4, it's technically not that long. No, it's. What is it, like 18 years or less? Technically 15, maybe?
Yeah, it's like, depending on what you're, like, between what to what, it's kind of like, like within 5 to 20 years in there, because I guess the easiest way that I always thought about it is that Luke and Leia are technically born at the end of Revenge of the Sith.
Which is a huge problem. It's probably why they shouldn't have done that, but anyway.
Yeah. And then Luke is about, from what I've seen, 17, 18 in A New Hope.
Okay.
So
thought he was a bit younger, but yes, even then.
It's roughly 15 to 20 years between 3 and 4.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so sadly there's not much. It's funny. There's not many years to be in there to have that much of a mythos. But at the same time, when it comes to a fucking war, and people live and die literally, every minute, right? Yeah, it's kind of crazy to see.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it is a long time. But the reason why I mentioned the Death Troopers, or I was asking about them, is because I wanted to know if they were clones or assassins, because it seemed like they knew what the fuck they were doing. Not that clones don't, because when you see stormtroopers, you realize clones can be people too. But it seems like, No, you do. You actually get to see them more than just being like, oh yeah, those clones or those stormtroopers, whatever phrase you want to refer to them as. But still, it was just because whenever you see a stormtrooper, you're like, that's a fuck up. Sorry. That's just my take on it. Like, you see a stormtrooper and you're like, that one's not trained. That one's not going to do well.
That's another thing that, a lot of people always point out. It's like, why do the stormtroopers suck so much? It's like, well, for one, I
love you so much. You're quoting a friend of ours. I love you so much. But please go on.
It's
not just him. I know, but it's really funny.
No, like, that's the thing, though. Like, I understand why people, after so many times, like, the Empire has taken over the galaxy and, stormtroopers are their enforcers. Why do they suck so much? Like, how have you held control of the galaxy if everyone's just kicking their ass? It's like, well, for one, we're watching the hero's story. Granted, maybe they should make more movies about the villains, and you'll see, holy shit, how many people die and are crushed by stormtroopers in between these movies. But that wouldn't necessarily make a good movie for everybody, now would it? Because it would be just death and destruction.
No, that's a huge issue with, that's actually something funny that you mentioned because, unless you're going to have an entire movie devoted to this, then, and I don't really think it's a good idea to have an entire movie devoted to the villains, to be honest with you.
Right,
Yeah, I mean, it works so well for Suicide Squad, but
that's where something like this would work better for, like, I agree, for a television series, because then you could have that episode to shine on the villains and have you understand, like, why they are such a threat instead of a 2-hour movie where, yes, technically everybody that was shown on screen is destroyed, but the sense of, even Leia says it at the very end, what have they given us, Your Highness? They've given us hope. And you can say how cheesy that is, and hell, maybe it is a bit cheesy, but, that is the point at the end. It's like, Jyn says it herself, rebellions are built on hope. Sometimes that's all you have to go on, and maybe you don't make it out at the end, but you've got to hope that someone else picks up from where you left off. And granted, if you want to see the sequel to Rogue One, just go to 1977, and there you go.
If she would have said A New Hope, I would have burned my disc.
I
would have removed the disc and I would have burned it.
Yes. That I would not have been, I could not defend that. That just would have been horrible.
Yes.
Like,
I believe
if you actually,
I'm pretty sure that if you burn Rogue One and Episode 7 side by side in front of a mirror and say, I don't like sand, you can actually summon George Lucas. I don't know.
He technically had nothing to do with either of those movies.
That's why. He just starts ranting. He's just like, I'm really not a big fan of these.
It's a bastardization of my own franchise. It's like, well, you sold it, so you know what? Goodbye.
Yeah, it sucks because, like, it does suck because, like, I understand if he doesn't like it, but at the same time, like he probably, I don't know I don't know the exact amount that he made, but holy shit, Disney bought it. This wasn't like, we didn't give him $350. Like, and that's dollars and 50 cents.
I always think of it, I kind of always think of it as not everyone's favorite series gets a chance to get a revival like this. And, you can debate all you want whether you consider this a revival or not, or whether it's the Star Wars you remember and love, or if it ever be as good as what you thought it would be, and all of that. But, like, the point is, like, we're getting new Star Wars stuff, and not everyone can go, not everyone can go, hey, the series that I liked is still going, and granted, you may not like the direction it goes in, but then don't follow it anymore, I guess. I don't know.
If I was in his shoes, though, I would have tried to have some kind of clause to be able to, like, write books or direct a TV show, like, with their approval, of course, but, like, still beyond as something. No, if I was in his shoes and I really didn't want to let go, I'd be like, listen, you guys are going to take the movies, you guys are going to take the games. Who am I to say anything? I made the Star Wars Kinect game. Like, let's just be real here.
Oh, gosh.
I get it, right? But if I was in his shoes, I I would have wanted the rights to maybe work on either some comics, although it sucks because, Disney owning Marvel, of course they were going to get the comics. But still, like, I understand if I was in his shoes, I would want some piece of it left to me.
Right.
Not just royalties, some actual, like, piece of it left, like I can work on as either a filmmaker or whatever. But when it comes to being like a director in some way, because when it comes to being a filmmaker, it's like, look, you knew that Disney were gonna Disney weren't just gonna buy this and be like, all right, what do we do?
Right, they're not just gonna sit on it. They're gonna hit the ground running. It's like, we just picked up Star Wars. We have a project in mind already.
Yeah. And I have to say, though, I do think in some ways, this was better than Episode 7. In some ways. Because, even though I do think that it was a great idea introducing a brand new cast of characters, I do think it was great expanding this universe. And it's funny because, again, you got rid of the expanding universe, but actually expanding the universe. And in some ways, it sucks, though, because people, again, this is the reason why I don't like hype. People told me, oh, man, this really showed the intricate details of war and how bad it is. And I'm not saying it didn't, but this isn't the first movie that has wars in the title.
Right.
And that has a war going on.
Yeah.
So even though there was some stuff in here that I was like, oh, damn, that's terrible, it was done so briefly that, like basically the scene where, there's essentially a full a blown-out, like, war where we have Jin saving that little girl. That was a great scene, but it wasn't the entire film. And if you believe the hype, people were, like, making it seem like that's the entire – not you specifically because you didn't spoil anything for me. But, like, people in general
I tried not
and, like,
to.
Articles – yes, and you were good to it. And, like, articles and stuff like that were all making it seem like, oh, no, you don't understand. This is about war. Yeah. Forget the fact that Episode 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, or 3, the Clone Wars, I mean, oh, man. But this one – war. And then I see it, and it just, granted, it wasn't, I'm not saying it was empty, like, oh, it was an empty war. Like, I don't want to do that. The other thing I said, trying to make a point that I mentioned earlier that was a little bit empty was the fact that the characters, I just really don't think that they were delved into as much as they could have been, minus the main character. Like, eventually I realized, you know what, we did a good job of developing her, I think. Or at least developing her backstory. Because here's the thing, too, right? You might say, but Matt, why are you saying she wasn't developed as a character in some way or another? Because she was always this person. Do you know what I mean? Like, she was always someone that was going to do this. Like, I would argue we had more development for French assassin or French mercenary. It always, like, because it didn't feel like, I actually thought he was either going to shoot.
Are you talking about Cassian?
Yeah, sure. It's funny. Every time you say a name, I just agree. I don't know who the fuck you're talking about. I'm just saying who I'm talking about. You give me a name, and I'm like, yeah, man.
You're saying French, and that's confusing me because I don't believe in any way is he French.
Then what was his accent?
I believe his family roots are Spanish, but I think, at least.
Every once in a while, he sounded like Cooler's.
Oh my God.
Yeah, every once in a while, he sounded like Salzer from Cooler's Revenge, if anyone knows the Dragon Ball Z film. Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought he was French. Am I wrong?
No, he was not French. I know that much, at least.
Okay. So, like I said, French mercenary. I really thought he was going to... I'm going to call him the first of the film. I thought he was actually going to shoot. I understood, like, no, Matt, he's not going to shoot the dad. But I thought he was going to fucking shoot someone. I was like, he's going to shoot someone in the fucking face. And then he didn't. And I was like, oh, wow, that's development. This is nice.
Right.
But then we have Jin, who, again, I'm not saying she had to have a moment of doubt necessarily very large. Or, I mean, heck, I want to say that I'm very fucking happy that she didn't make out with Mercenary.
Yeah.
I would have been so mad if they kissed. I would have been like, are you fucking serious?
Right.
So it's funny. In a way, I have to give them credit. I'm happy there was literally no romantic bullshit pushed in there.
Right.
Like, I got to be honest. I actually, you know what? I should fucking give them. Now I'm actually like starting to have an epiphany here. I should give them like the most credit I think I've ever given writers ever. I fucking thank them from the bottom of my heart that it didn't go from like, there's a war going on around us. Yes, that's why we should make love. Like, no. No. There's no.
And
the only thing I
want
rocking the ship is an explosion.
And it did, as it vaporized them. Like, that's an important deal. Like, I enjoy that bit too, that they didn't, that there wasn't a kiss at the very end. It's like, yes, they're holding each other, but it's like she's propping him up so he can walk, because God knows he must have probably maybe not broken his spine, but he broke some bones when he fell, when he took that shot from Krennic, when they were climbing up the tower to get out with the plans. Like, he was barely hobbling away.
I thought he was pretty dead when that happened.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I definitely thought he was dead, too. Because it's like, yep, this is what we're doing. They're all going down one by one. This is how this is going to end.
Also, it's interesting because, like, Krennic, I thought the way the movie was going to go. So I'm not a big fan of what happened with Krennic, because I thought the way the movie was going to go, Krennic was going to be like, you know what? Fuck this Empire. Fuck your house. Fuck your Death Star.
No,
but
because
then it kind of turned into...
He always thinks he's still right. Like, this is my achievement. This is my power. The Emperor will see that, and he will reward me for it. Like, he is solely about that.
I dislike that.
Well,
because, like, here's the thing, right? Well, no. What I'm saying is that I would rather him be like, wait a minute. If this thing fucks up, Tarkin's going to take the heat. You know what? I'm out. Fuck you, Tarkin. Sure. The rebels? Oh yeah, no, we killed them. Yeah, oh no. Yeah, oh, and Tarkin, you want to step over here? Just tell the Emperor what you want to say?
Because that's how Tarkin is too. Like, he's also like rooting his way up, the ladder for more power. He would find a way to completely blame it all on Krennic. It's like, nah, he built it. I took command of it, yeah, but he built it. Granted, it would be a bit more elegant and evil than that, but when you boil it down.
But here's the point, though. The point is that Tarkin, if he lets Tarkin take all the... Because my thing is, the situation, though, is Krennic gets sent back, and then Tarkin just going, it's all mine, everything is mine, and then, Lord Vader, good. And then later on, why did that happen? It wasn't all mine, but you said it was all yours. I was lying. Oh, so now people are lying to me. Well,
it was funny. Even Vader's like, I don't care who's in charge of it. I just don't want it to bite the Emperor in the ass, because look, we're still establishing our foothold over the galaxy. We can't just go around destroying planets and then go back to the Senate and be like, yeah, it didn't happen. There's a planet missing. You got no proof of that? We can literally show you the star chart of where it's supposed to be and a photo of where the planet is not. Because even Vader's like, there is no Death Star. It's like, you've proved how much of a problem it can cause. Yes, that's what you've done.
You know what's funny? And you say this, you mentioned the Emperor, and I'll just say this for like 0.5 seconds, because this has nothing to do with this movie, technically. I really don't like how the Emperor was dispatched in Episode 6. Like, now I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, man, Emperor wasn't really shown much. Because it's funny, now I'm seeing more of him in Clone Wars pre-being, like, fishy Emperor. Right. I'm just thinking of his face. So it's really sad how it was kind of like, yeah, no, the Emperor, whatever, doesn't matter as much. And then 1, 2, and 3, and an entire series focus on him, and you're like, man, they did not think that through at the time.
I would argue for this, like, for New Hope and the Emperor, like, why it's like, oh, why does he show up for the second one and not this one? Because now he's under the impression it's like, well, I need to be here to foresee the construction of this one, because if anything is out of line, I will know about it, because I will see it. In the first one, it's like, I'm running a galaxy. I don't exactly have all the time in the world to be like, sit in the chair and be like, make sure this goes here. Like, I feel like in Return of the Jedi, it's like, no, I've pretty much established my reign. I have time to sit back in the chair and overlook my Death Star.
No, I meant it sucks that we didn't see as much of him in general out of 4, 5, and 6, and then he dies in 6, and it feels like, all right, so I guess that was just like the Emperor of everything. Because every once in a while I forget the Emperor exists because I think that Vader rules everything, and it's like, no, Vader doesn't.
Yeah, Vader's the right
hand
man. Yeah.
Yes. But another thing too, by the way, and this isn't James Earl Jones's fault. His voice, he's gotten older, man. And I don't know why they couldn't do something in editing to make him not sound as old. You can fucking create people's faces from scratch.
Yeah.
But Vader sounds like he is legit 40 years older. 40 to 40. I was kind of frustrated with that. I was like, really?
I guess I would have to go back and... Yeah. Well, no, because it didn't feel like it stuck out as much. But like, if I went back and like compared the two of them, you're right. It would probably sound a bit off.
Yeah, and it was just sad in that regard. Now, here's something I would like to mention, by the way. So again, I didn't see this movie in theaters, and I didn't see any promotional stuff for it. But I truly believe, and I can be corrected if anyone wants to prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong. Anyone listening in, just email us, those guys on the radio at gmail.com. And I actually mean this because I want to be proven wrong. I'm being serious here. I swear that they actually edited and made it look, made Tarkin and Leia's CGI look better for the DVD and Blu-ray release.
That might be entirely possible.
Here's why.
I'll even say it too.
Yeah.
I thought it looked better too on the DVD, because for when I watched it in theaters, not that it was bad. It wasn't bad, but I would say it was too perfect.
I would argue it was bad.
When I looked at them next to actual people, it's like your face doesn't move like theirs does. You kind of, and you're a little bit more shiny, I guess.
Yes. Now, here's the thing, right? So some people at home listening in right now might be like, "Wait, Matt, you said you didn't watch the movie. What the fuck?" But I was spoiled upon the end, not by you, but by the internet. So I said, "Wait, fuck it. Let me see what's going on here." So then that's the only thing that Tristan and I were able to talk about without there being any spoilers, was how Tarkin and Leia their face were recreated. Well, both recreated technically. Leia and Tarkin through photos, but of course at the time Carrie Fisher was still with us. But again, her face did not look like Leia's.
She couldn't look like A New Hope Leia. Right.
Yeah. So technically, yes, it is also created from pictures, but so the pictures that I had seen of them in Rogue One, in my opinion, looked terrible. They were only stills, but they especially focusing on Tarkin specifically, but even Leia, to be fair, focusing on Tarkin, I didn't see his face move because again I didn't watch it, but just seeing him standing there was way too shiny.
It's a bit
and
awkward,
just did not. Very fucking awkward. But it was basically, it looked like Final Fantasy, what was it, Spirit Within or something like that? Was that the one? The entirely CGI movie for Final Fantasy?
Oh, I've never actually seen it, but I've heard about it, yeah.
Okay, so if you've seen any art from that, to me, original, movie Tarkin looked like that. Also, I want to, movie theater Tarkin. I also want to mention that, something that you might not be thinking about, Tristan, when it's blown up that much, in a theater, you're going to notice the imperfections a lot more than you would on your television.
Right.
Or on your computer. I want to mention that. But I definitely think that even though I still believe that when Tarkin's mouth moved, it wasn't 100% right, it was 85 to 90 though. Because, heck, even the shading, they made sure. It's funny, I don't know if they fixed his shading or if they took the shading for everyone around him and changed it up, because I would argue that some people look shiny too. So they may have went back and went, okay, make, these other people look a little bit shinier and have the sweat kind of look a certain way on their faces so that it would match what we've done to Tarkin, the CGI that we've created. Because that was the CGI for Tarkin, as far as we took this long to even bring it up, was very interesting. And it's funny, I think I would have preferred, head turned around and then maybe only showing it once. Like, I think prolonging it or trying to show him emote was their problem.
Yeah, I think a body double, like, just as close and just have, like, a side shot, not the full-on face, might have still done the trick, too, but I guess that might have been too hard to do for the dialogue that they were going for, maybe.
No, because they could have had someone else dub him over. I think the reason was, because here's the thing, they still made sure to jump to, I can't believe I've already forgotten his name, the one who really created the Death Star.
Oh, Krennic.
Krennic, thank you. They made sure to jump to Krennic whenever they could.
Right.
It's just that when they did focus on Tarkin, I don't know if I wasn't the biggest fan of that. And more importantly, something very important for anyone who's saying, like, they desecrated Tarkin and his actor, they went to the family and they said, hey, listen. Yes. Now, here's the thing.
Can we use his likeness? Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. They didn't have to ask. Disney owns his likeness.
Yeah.
They did it because they were either you say they did it because they were nice or they did it because they knew there would be a PR backlash if they didn't. So they made sure to go to his family.
I would like to believe that, obviously they respected, his role in this movie and they did not want it to be offensive to, the family. So
right.
But
here's the thing. I think it's both. I think it's both.
Yeah. Right.
Like, because, like, obviously, even though the best is, they don't want to be offensive to the family, still, they would also be offending everyone else as well.
Right. They all, they're still making a movie, too. So, the fan base
exactly.
is...
Yeah. Yes. But you're right, though. I do hope that it's a little column A as well. But yeah, so if anyone's saying, like, oh, they've ruined it, you can still say they've ruined it. But it's not like, oh, and they just revived someone from the dead. Great. It's like, no, it happened to, they asked, and that's that.
Right.
However, I fucking hope. I mean, it's sad. It might be in our lifetime because it might be, because this took 40 years for them to do something like this with Tarkin. So it might be in our lifetime because you and I are in our 20s. But, yeah, I hope it does. If it ever happens, it would take 40 years. My point is that I hope they don't, with Carrie Fisher passing away or anyone else who might be, knock on wood, passing away in the near future, I really hope they don't think of doing that anytime soon. Right.
Or making a habit out of it.
Again, that's why I said 40 years from now. Like, I can understand them wanting to do it again, especially in 40 years from now. You would assume the technology would be better. But, because again, I would be frustrated if it would happen to Leia in 40 years, like, or to, Captain Organa. But again, that would be 40 years from now. God knows what the fuck would be going on with Star Wars. And I think you and I would still be arguing over who shot first, or agreeing over who shot first. Yeah. Right?
I was going to be like, look, you can, disagree with me about this movie however you want, but if you start saying that Greedo shot first, I'm out. And I know
actually
you
in the super extended ultra rainbow ray violet cut, Greedo didn't even shoot first. Chewbacca did. What?
No.
Why was Chewie even there?
Neither of them even thought of shooting each other because they both realized that Jabba was playing them against each other, and that war is really just oh God.
They got the new guy that's playing Han Solo to record that scene.
Oh jeez.
And then Greedo is just full on CGI. It's not even a guy in a suit. Oh, so here's the thing, right? Here's another random complaint. Random complaints by Matt. So I feel like they put so much fucking money, and I mean a fuck ton of money, into Tarkin and Leia, right? And because of that, they couldn't fucking make a purple monster with tentacles. I'm sorry. That the monster that they made, the one that could like read people's minds but also fuck it up completely. It looked terrible.
I mean, it's probably not supposed to look likable either, but the Borg gullet.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
I love you though. But you know what? But seriously, you know what I mean, right? Like the CGI did not look good. I think when they did a close-up of his face, that was actually practical effects. At least it looked practical, and I was like, I like the head. But then when they pan out, I'm like, why the fuck?
Oh, you mean the tentacles wrapping around the pilot? Oh, God. I have his name.
Not even the pilot. Before, just him sliding over. The shading was off, and I'm not an expert here. I'm just saying that, like, it did not, like, it looked like, because let's just say, right,
Bodhi.
let's just say that, what?
Sorry, the pilot's name, Bodhi Rock.
Okay, I thought you legit said booty, and I'm like, yes, it was booty, but why are you using that terminology, Tristan?
The shading on
what?
the monster, especially on the booty, just wasn't there.
No. I think you were saying that it was booty. Like, it wasn't good. That's what I'm sorry. I'm so confused. I'm like, the shading on the monster it was booty. Yes, Tristan, but why?
I see. Okay.
That's why I was confused. I was like, why are you using the phrase booty? But anyway, okay, so, but what I was saying was, though, in all seriousness, like, it feels like if they did go back to fix Tarkin and Leia, it's like, y'all should have went right back to that monster. Because I'm sorry, I saw it, and I was just, and like the way the things were, even the way the tentacles were moving around, and it felt like a Disney character cut into. Like, I'm sorry, like, everyone's gonna call me a dick right now, including you. It felt like Space Jam, man. Like, it just did not feel like it fit the scene around it, and I don't know why it didn't, but like it just stuck out like a sore thumb, and it's weird because I'm sitting here and I'm like, we're in 2017. CGI, movie came out in 2016. CGI should just look great all around. This movie was a very expensive movie by Disney. Why does it look like that? So I'm curious as to why it looked like that, and maybe you want to look at it again, Tristan, and you see what I mean, because it just did not look as natural as I think CGI should. 2017. Like, it reminded me of like if you want me to really like not be a dick and and stick to like the last 10 years, it reminded me of one of those re-edits for the original trilogy.
Right.
Where they would just place a CGI monster in there.
Oh, I see. Or
that's what I'm saying.
Or how Han would walk over CGI'd Jabba's tail.
Yeah, I don't remember the CGI tail, but I remember other monsters literally being put in there, and it just feeling horrifying. So yeah, okay. So anything? By the way, so I've been ranting on this movie. You've been either agreeing or disagreeing, but like I want to throw it over to you and ask you, what did you like about this film, or dislike?
I mean, we've basically hit the stuff that I disliked, so the rest of it would probably just sound like me gushing over it, but it's funny, I don't know where to start. Okay, so I'll just go with the biggest thing that I did love. The Battle of Scarif is probably, I mean, I'm just going to say it, I can sound stupid for it or whatever, but like it was probably one of my most favorite points in cinema, just for me. Like, out of all movies that I've watched, just the battle scene. Like, I would have paid the movie tickets just to see that battle.
So Scarif, you're referring to the one at the end?
Yes, the end fight, where, the Rebel Alliance sends in the fleet, and they basically just go to town.
Okay. I'll laugh at you because of cinema, but definitely out of Star Wars, yeah, I'm going to give that one to you. Also, to be fair, like, live-action cinema, yeah, you don't really see battle scenes like that often, to be fair.
Yeah. And I mean, Star Wars is most of my cinema experience anyway, so you could boil it down to that.
It's not most of your cinema experience. There's only like 8 of them.
Yeah, but...
You've only seen, like...
No, I mean, I just...
12 movies.
Out of the list of movies that I go out to see...
Oh, good. Oh, no. Tristan,
what?
Have you only seen 8 Star Wars movies and 4 Indiana Jones films?
The dark secret comes out, Matt.
Because we did the other 4 Indiana Jones films on our Friday Night Movies podcast. And one for Monday Night Movies, which was special. But don't over bringing that back. But, is that what's going on here, Tristan?
Yep, you've caught me in my dark lie, Matt. These
so
are the only
sorry.
movies that I've ever seen.
I'm so sorry. You've just been faking every other movie.
Yeah, pretty much. There is an important part, at least with the CG for the space battle as well, because I'm not saying, like, you've seen the movies, but you probably wouldn't pick this up if you, I would just put it, if you haven't seen it as many times as I have. Red Leader and Gold
Probably
Leader
not. Yes.
are the same that were in...
Oh, they were?
Yep.
Oh, shit. Okay.
They even...
No, because here's why. Right? Okay, let me explain. My, crossover senses were tingling. So when they're doing that, I'm like, they're not just random motherfuckers. They were from episode 4.
They were. They even took the dialogue from... Because I'm... like, if I'm wrong, it is, like, people can tell me, but I'm pretty sure that both actors that played Red and Gold Leader are no longer with us. So they did use dialogue from episode 4 for them, and their likeness is taken from 4 and touched up, I'm pretty sure.
But not in the Tarkin way.
No, not to the level of Tarkin, because that's all new dialogue too.
Yeah. So I assume that they... Oh, so wait, so you're saying that they copied and pasted, or that they got body doubles? I'm confused.
I want to say copy pasted. It could have been body doubles. I would be happy if it was, but I think it was just copy pasted. Although something interesting, one character that was in the original movies, and his actor is still around, and I think you can tell because of the small shot that he's in, his mustache is like, it's still a bit like grayed at the tips. Like, I don't know if he dyed it or not, but Biggs, when he was with Luke, Biggs, Wedge, and Luke, when they run on the Death Star trench, I think Biggs the actor who played Biggs came back for this.
Nice.
But they only showed him for a split second, so it's like, you're like, was that Biggs? He looks older. Wait, was that really him? I didn't get a good enough look. I was in the middle of the battle sequence. But they even, like, continuity-wise, I like to say that they really tried for this movie, because there's even a point where during the battle, they show a squadron of X-Wings, and somebody yells out, Red 5, where are you going? Oh, I'm looking for an opening, and he gets shot down. Now, if you remember back to Episode 4, Red 5 is Luke's call sign when he's flying with the Rebellion. They even went back to be like, if Red Squadron is, in this movie, and then in Episode 4 as well, how does Luke just become magically Red 5? Wouldn't he be like Red, 109? It's like, no, it's because Red 5 got shot down during the battle.
Yeah. So, it's interesting, just mentioning little stuff like that. I do think, that's another, that's a reason people could like this on a completely different level. And that's why I understand why, you're really in love with this, because, little things like that aren't just little. They really help this universe become a thing. The one thing that I want to say in your favor, because I know you've had this discussion with this friend of ours that I was referencing before, and I'm sure other people bring it up too, not just, people end up besting, these stormtroopers, but even a guy who's blind. Right, that was kind of also the thought.
Oh, right.
Like,
I didn't even finish my thing on that earlier, because we were talking about that earlier.
Yes. And, it's like, he's blind and stuff like that. My thing is this, though, right? And please, if anyone wants to tell me I'm wrong, please, again, I mentioned our email before. Please tell me I'm wrong. To me, and by the way, you'll probably tell me I'm wrong, Tristan, because you know more about the Force than I do, and many people we know do. Now, here's the thing about the Force, though. With the way this guy, right, the way he experiences the Force, even though he is blind, with the way he experiences the Force, he's fucking Daredevil, basically.
Basically, yeah.
So, even though it's like he's blind, he can't even see, I disagree with that notion. Now, obviously, they don't show him, that's another reason why I think it would have been
even
best
normal
if they
blind
on
people
him a bit
can
more.
see. They just see in a different way. Not saying that you're saying that, but for people who are like, he's blind, it's like, yeah, they just use their other senses, though. Granted, it looks it feels more superhuman here because he's kicking the crap out of, a garrison of stormtroopers.
Mm. No. Like, yes, they use their other senses, but like, it is more superhuman here because, in my opinion, the Force is involved. So, like, in my opinion,
wonder.
I do feel like it is. Maybe because I got to be real with you. If it's confirmed by any of the creators, like, no, the Force didn't help him at all. He's just a monk. I wouldn't. I mean, yes, even though trained, yes, you've mentioned this before to me. He's definitely trained in some way or another because he was a temple guard. He is not just some random blind dude off the street, right, of New York.
Yeah.
But still, even him being a temple guard, we don't know when he was blinded. We don't know if he was blind at birth. But still, him being blind,
right,
and him being a temple guard, I still feel like it would be weird for him to beat down stormtroopers if the Force didn't have something to do with it. Because, yes, some people might be like, but the Force is something you feel. It's not necessarily a power. Oh, is it? Is it not really a power? Well, you can harness it. Yes, again, I feel like
it's both. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I feel like I'm not saying he harnesses it so he can see again. I'm just saying that, like, the Force heightens his senses to the point where I do feel like he's a bit like Daredevil. I just wish we would have gotten more clarification on that because it would have been great. Like, how do you do all these things?
Yeah.
And it's just like the Force. It works in mysterious ways, even some like really bullshitty.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely say at the end scene when he walks out, when they're pinned down and he's walking out to go flip the master switch, the Force is at play. Yes, it's definitely at play because the Death Troopers are even missing, and this is like goes along with the different levels of training for stormtroopers. Like, not all stormtroopers are the same. Like, the Death Troopers are the best of the best, and they are only like Krennic has his own squad of them. It's like they are sent out to protect. Like Tarkin would probably have a squad of Death Troopers as well on him at all times if he were moving around.
Right, and we have not seen them in 4, 5, and 6. I am correct in saying that. Yes, so they've been added in later.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And with
there,
just regular stormtroopers, like I will say, even other series, even Rebels, kind of delves into the idea of, why are the stormtroopers not as intimidating as they should be? Well, there's kind of a lot of different factors. Like, I mean, I've even talked about it a little bit here, like when we did comparisons between clones and stormtroopers, talking about Clone Wars. Like, there are a lot of stormtroopers that are just enlistees, and they're, like we said, not everybody in the Empire is an evil monster like Krennic or Vader or the Empire. It's like they're kind of just there to do a job, and their armor is even mass-produced. And not to say that stormtroopers, like, they do go through a decent amount of training, but some of them are just kind of pumped out to, like, we need an enforcement because
we need people to shoot things. Shoot the thing.
We need a presence. That's what it is. It's not even the sense of a show of force. It's just a presence of force.
Can you shoot the thing?
Necessarily. Can you shoot the thing?
Shoot the thing.
Kind of.
Jesus, we needed you to shoot that, and now you're dead.
And I would even argue that.
I just thought of the worst thing ever. I just thought of the worst thing. Imagine people enlisting, right, into the Empire to be stormtroopers. So like they have your address, they know where you live, and like the second you die, it's just like send their parents a letter, and like the parents get a letter. Your child was a disappointment.
I mean, honestly, they might not. Well, I mean, it might be better not to even get that at all. But like, I don't think they even send anything. Like, I think you're just left to wonder.
No, I feel like the Empire would send them, like, if they died in a very, like, your child died, like, maybe, like, oh, your child died in line of duty, they were, like, for the ones that really tried their hardest or that were, like, high up, but I feel like for people that are just, but I feel like people that were just enlisting as stormtroopers, they died because of rebel scum. Gets a letter in the mail, they died because of rebel scum. Great job.
I mean,
we would say you're good. We would say you are good parents, but you were good parents.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the Empire would just mass send out letters. You know what? They'd be sending out Samuel L. Jackson. Be like, what do we get in the mail? You fucked up. You fucked up. You fucked up. Because like they're holograms.
Yeah. Oh, just stuck on that.
No, that's
just
like
a hologram of the Emperor just stuck on that. You fucked everything up.
You fucked up.
He didn't do it.
Up. Jesus Christ. Oh God. I don't want there to be gifts of the Emperor going around. Anyway, yeah. So it was very, talking about like the monk and that situation. I don't think that it's as black and white as some people might make it out to be, but I do think that I can understand why they would make it black and white, because we got no explanation otherwise. So in a weird way, you and I saying, but it has to be the Force, that's still somewhat fan canon-y. Somewhat.
Yeah. And for a lot of people, they would just call that a cop-out. And, I guess in a way, yes, it is.
It is.
But
it's a cop-out, in my opinion, until they mention it. They being the movie mentions it.
Right. Yeah.
So I can understand people calling it a cop-out. But if the movie mentions it, it's just like, that's a cop-out. Then I feel weird, because it's just like, but we, especially because like the person in question that we know watches anime, so it's kind of just like, wait, so like, you know what I'm saying? Like for the stuff that, especially the stuff that we've podcasted on, it'd be like, so Super Saiyan X isn't a cop-out whenever it comes up?
Oh no, like trust me, the person in question, he calls that out too. He'll call anything out.
Oh,
but
okay,
yeah.
fair enough. Okay, fair enough. Because I forgot. Yes, I forgot what I was talking about. Yes, fair enough. But still, no, because like it just gets weird sometimes when it's just like, oh no, Force is a cop-out if like other things aren't. But if they are, then so be it. Yeah, fair enough. But I feel like it's a cop-out, or rather at least fan canon from us until mentioned otherwise, and in a way it wasn't. And I think that's, again, a big problem, which is why the movie either should have been condensed, right, and turned into like a television show or like a TV movie. I know like certain things definitely wouldn't have been able to be included, but still, again, Tarkin didn't make me sit there and go, oh my goodness, whoa. Yeah. You know what it is too? I hate to say this, especially I think because it was Tarkin. What I mean by that is, like, 40 years from now, even though I said I don't want it to really happen, but I feel like it will, someone doing that to like Luke or Leia, that's going to be like, whoa, main character of the movie. But like, because Tarkin, even though he played such a large role, I don't feel like he was shown as much throughout 4, 5, and 6, even though he played such a large role. So to have it done to him,
he was blown up in 4, so.
That's what I'm trying to say. See what I'm saying? Well, he didn't come back as a Force ghost is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, God.
Are you all fucking serious? Just 5 and 6.
Yeah, he would say it, too. He would come back and be like, are you fucking serious right now?
But seriously, so like he was killed in 4, so and he doesn't really come off to me as someone that the entire fan base, well, I'm sorry, the entirety of people that watch Star Wars, because they can be fans, but like not fans like you are, right? So fans are just like, oh my God, you created Tarkin like that? Wow. Like I feel like if you told someone, did you know that they CGI'd Tarkin before they saw the movie? They'd be like, who?
Right, yeah.
And then when they saw his face, they'd be like, oh, I remember that guy, yeah.
Right, that guy, yeah.
Wow, that is some good CGI. That's what I'm referring to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if you would have cut down the movie 45 minutes and removed the Tarkin bits, it's still, So again, right, either that, 45 minutes, or even like an hour and a half, I guess, or extend it into a 2.5-hour film and given some people more backstories or, like small little stuff here and there. Like even just like a small scene where, again, if he was blind his whole life, he wouldn't be picturing his earlier parts of life. But even if like he was asleep and you heard things, like heard his dreams of like how things used to be. and then he woke up, and then like something like that. Little things here and there that kind of built them up instead of it just kind of being about Jin, but still not really building her up, in my opinion, properly. And then about Jin and about Mercenary, because now I can't be French. So about Mercenary. No, that's his name. His name is Mercenary. His first name is
Cassian's not that hard to remember, and you've always asked me for Krennic. You can ask me for Cassian too. Jesus.
His first name is Merce, and his last name is Nary.
Oh, jeez.
All right. So Cassius. Yeah?
Yeah.
Did I already fuck it up? Okay, I did not.
Cassian. Okay.
All
See,
right,
I'll even
Cassius.
fuck it up too, but
yeah. So I will say though, funnily enough, right? So I mentioned that a bunch of people, well, a bunch of I guess I'll say like monsters, or I hate using the word monsters because we're not in like a Power Rangers thing. We're like these are people too. These are beings too. Yeah, aliens. A bunch of aliens. Beings, yeah. Some of them were like done with some CGI that I wasn't a big fan of. Other ones, I really should point out, had some great practical effects. And even some other ones, I think around the Rebel Round Table, if you will, if you want to call it that. Their CGI, because it was quick and brief, and because they're smaller, I think it was done very well.
Right.
I just want to point it out. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to rail on CGI. One thing I want to mention, though, that I find very interesting, and it's going to be a half joke, half truth. Do you remember that one guy? I can't remember his name, but he was part of the round table as well. He was in a completely white lab coat, white beard, short white hair.
Yes. He is in episode 4. He's the commander leading the strike on the Death Star.
So obviously he's a new actor, portraying him. But still,
I believe
because,
yes.
Well, he has to be. But I don't remember how he looked in episode 4. I'm sure you're going to be like, he looked just like that. But I didn't notice him in episode 4. And the reason why I say that is because when I see him here, I realize that, holy shit, apparently we got fucking Mega Man's creator over here.
Really?
I can't remember his name. Dr. Light?
Oh, right. Okay, I see.
Seriously,
yeah,
you look at the white lab coat, the beard, and the hair, and it's like, holy shit, he's about to create Mega Man. Which
so I've created this
new
fighter for the Rebel Alliance.
I gotta say, would definitely tip the scales to the Rebels' favor. It would tip the scales.
Possible, yeah.
Mega Man would fucking help. I'm sorry.
I mean,
put that out there.
No, I'm not saying he wouldn't help. He definitely would, but the Empire has got a lot of fucking like secret projects and shit going on. Like, holy shit.
They create Sigma. Anyway.
They would.
I need to stop. I just need to stop. Oh, so here's something I definitely didn't mention earlier, and I'm really happy that this happened. So when they bring out, Blind Monk, right? You bring him out, and I knew that he existed, right? You mentioned him to me once before, and and again I saw some, I heard some talk about him, right? I was really happy that he existed because, and some people might come down on me for this, but I'm just going to say it straight out, right? I like diversity in movies, especially in a galaxy that literally has, like, it would be crazy to me. Like, there's a whole bunch of aliens in here, but thankfully none of those minorities. Like, what are you doing? Like, there's so many different types of beings here. Why, when it comes to humanoid, because we'd still, because I don't want to call Jin or Leia or, or Luke humans, because that's weird because it doesn't mean they're from Earth, right? There's not really an Earth from the looks of it in this galaxy. But, like, out of the humanoids that we consider, like, oh, yes, so those are people. There can't be anyone with either brown skin or, Asian or whatever. Like, come on, people. Like, let's be real here, right? That's just my take on it. So, being able to see him in Star Wars, I was like, this is really cool. My first problem, though, is that, like, it's a little weird that the first time you introduce an Asian, he's mystical. Yes, he's blind, too, but he's mystical monk who could fight with a bow, mystical monk. And I'm like, all right, are we really doing this right now? But then you show his friend who's just regular Asian dude with a gun. And I'm like, okay, I'm very happy right now. Because my whole thing is this, right? doesn't matter what character type you're showing me. If you're only showing me that one type and it's a stereotypical type, it's only one. So it's only one person that way. That's going to be a problem for me. Where like if you basically like, so what I mean is this, right? If you have someone in a movie and they're the only African American in the movie, and they're going around either speaking in jive or they're speaking in, in Ebonics, and they're just like, yo, 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 playa, and that's the only African American character, I'm going to be like, so this is kind of bullshit. Are we all in agreement that this is pretty much bullshit? Because I'm pretty sure this is bullshit. And even the other trope, because you might be like, oh, then Matt, then we have to make him smart, because black people can be smart too. But then the problem is that's another trope that we've seen in a lot of films where the black guy is then becomes the super nerd. So then you're like, so then what should we do? And it's like, make him a normal person. So like not Poe. Wow, I'm blanking here. Help me. Was it?
Which?
No, it's not. Episode 7.
Yeah, Force Awakens?
Yeah.
Oh, the actor. Yes. Finn. Or not the character.
The actor. Just the character. Yeah,
the character Finn. Yes, sorry, I meant to say
Finn. Thank you. Sorry. Although Finn is Poe is Hispanic, which is nice, but Finn. Actually, I believe Poe is actually Mexican. Anyway, so with Finn. It's just having him just be, even though he was a stormtrooper, and people might be like, oh, but he was a big character. But he's just a regular person in a way.
Is the actor?
He's just a regular person.
Just remember.
No, it's fine. But Finn's just a regular person in a way. Yeah. So it's cool, like just having him out there, like, oh, and he just happens to be black, whatever, right? So having Asian dude with a gun, literally just being like, hey, Asian guy with a gun, just like anyone could have filled that role. Do you know what I mean? Like he didn't have to be Asian, and that's what I think I really enjoy about that character. Now you might say, oh, but the monk didn't have to be Asian either. Yes, very true. He didn't have to be. But the problem is that usually the trope is, oh yes, mythical Asia, mystical.
Right. Although,
what is coming from Asia this time? You know what I mean? Like it's what?
Right. No, I see the point you're making, but there's also an important point looking at the actors. So Chirrut, Denny Yen is from Donnie Yen. He's from Hong Kong, so yes, still Asian. And also his counterpart, though, his friend who was also a temple guard, Baze. He is from China. And that was a point for their two characters that they're very nice foils to each other because Chirrut basically sticks with, the mysticism that you're talking about. Like he still sticks with the identity that he is a temple guard and that the Force is there to protect them and the Force will always be a part of them. Whereas Baze, he has the ammo tank on his back, the full armor, and the repeating blaster rifle. He's basically given up on all that. He even says, to Chirrut at a point, he's like, when he's chanting, when they're in the prison at Saw Gerrera's, he says, seriously? Are you praying right now? You pray?
Yeah. No,
and he's like, he's only mad because he knows it's possible.
But but here's the thing, right? So yes, in relation to each other, you're like, oh no, but they had to be Asian in relation to each other, and I didn't think about that, and I actually thank you for bringing that up.
I'm saying that there is another Asian actor playing a character who is not steeped in that mysticism.
No, and that's what I just said. Yes, you're agreeing with me. Sorry, I thought you were trying to counteract.
No. Yeah, I am agreeing.
No, but I'm saying that, yes, in a way, they're foil. In a way, yes, they both had to be Asian. But when separating them, like, thankfully that foil is there. But what I like about the character of, I can't remember his name. You just brought his name up, with the gun.
Baze.
What I like about him is that he didn't have to be Asian, and I think that's something that we need to look towards when casting in the future, right? Where, like, yes, I'm not saying you can't look for a specific race if you want to, even though it does become problematic if you're like, no, it has to be white all the time. It's like, wait, but why? But still, you can look for any race you want to. In my opinion, if you're casting, but the thing is, for me, it's just like this idea that it's like, oh, so-and-so is going to be the terrorist, let's say in this movie, right? It's like, okay, you're terrorist number 3, all right. So who are we looking for? Only Middle Eastern people. Why?
Right.
Is this going to be Middle Eastern terror? Where is it happening? Oh no, the movie's taking place in the United States. Okay, why do they have to be Middle Eastern? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, things like that. Like, why does...
Right.
So, like, why... And it's not just that. It's a bunch of different situations where it's just like, oh, we need this character, to be Hispanic. And it's just like, oh, okay, what does that mean? Well, we're casting a Hispanic person. Okay, and he got to talk like this, Why? Why does he have to talk like that? Like, are you doing a piece in the hood, maybe? Like, okay, then I'm with you there. Okay, you're in the hood. Okay, sure, I guess, Then you realize just because he talks like that doesn't mean that he's stupid. Okay, cool, makes sense. But you're in Star Wars, right? This is a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. You can just have people who are, who like, because even us debating on his accent, right, on that character's accent that I've already forgotten.
Right. Yes, I did want to point out just the actor himself, Diego Luna.
Mm-hmm.
He is Mexican, and
I love it.
He's
you mentioned
the
Diego
guy who
Luna.
played. He's the guy who played Cassian. So
I love you so much, Diego
mercenary.
Luna, and I'm like, Diego, and I'm like, sounds pretty French to me. No, what's really, really funny, I'm pretty sure I saw him on Colbert, and he mentioned
his mother
being one
is
of the
British,
first Mexican.
So.
Okay. So there might be a fun little mix in there that even because I don't think because it's funny when you say Mexican, maybe that's why, like, because this is very interesting because, like, as someone who is, like, I'm Cuban Puerto Rican, so, like, I really should have picked that up quicker, but there was something about the way he spoke that reminded me of Salazar, which is an animated character from Dragon Ball Z, from Cthulhu's Revenge. And before anyone goes, oh, but that was just a fake French accent. No, the guy that did the voice was actually from France and is a French actor for, like, live action stuff. So that's why it really threw me off that he's not French, but okay. Point is, though, is that for Cassius, even though we debate about his accent, in no point, did he have to be Spanish, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, nothing about him. Yeah, and I think that's what I really enjoy, because nothing about him makes me sit there and think like, oh, yeah, no, if they replaced him with any other kind of actor, be it, African-American or just African, right? It could be someone from Africa. It could be straight from Africa. It could have been someone British. It could have been of any color. It could have been someone from the Middle East. It didn't really matter, right? Same thing with the pilot, too, that I really enjoyed. Like, he was just existing.
Mm.
Do you see what I mean? Like, I'm happy that they were just able to cast in any way, and especially when they, cast for the monk. Can't believe I didn't realize it was Donnie Yen, by the way. I'm like, holy shit. But anyway, so, yeah, I was very happy that even though you have someone holding on to that mysticism, you also have someone else with that foil, because if not, it would have been really weird. Like, if it was just him holding on to the mysticism, I would have been like, no, this is a problem. Sorry, but it's a problem. Also, something that I noticed, I don't know if you noticed this, if it came off to you, which is really weird to me. So, where was the first planet that was destroyed with the Death Star when they all basically got on the ship and were like, get the fuck off?
Right, Jeddah.
Jeddah, thank you.
Yeah, the desert planet.
Yeah, okay, I guess that's why, because they they explained it in the movie, like, oh, it's a desert planet, that's what this is, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. However, it just looks weird to me that, I'm just going to be very serious here, and it sucks because we make jokes a lot, but, but there is all these bombs being thrown around and this entire war going on a planet that I'm looking at this and I'm like, why are there, like, even towers in the background that seem like we're in the Middle East right now? What's going on? Why is this happening? Like, it looked like they swapped out one of the sets from the first Indy movie.
Okay.
And I was a little confused here. I was just like, why we do this? Why are we, like,
yeah.
I'm not saying you have to respond to it anyway. I was saying, like, it was just a very strange situation because I was just like, they're like, oh yeah, war-torn planet. And they were also trying to say that it was the place that apparently was the last place that people could look towards if they believed in Jedi? Was that what it was?
Yeah, Krennic kind of makes a quick mention to it. Like, Jeddah is the last kind of remnants of the Jedi Order because the temple is still there because the Empire is mining the Kyber crystals out of it. And Kyber crystals
that was really,
are...
Yeah.
they're the focusing lens, or they focus the energies they are the gems that the energy in the Death Star is focused through to then produce the beam that is the destructive force behind the Death Star. But they also, in smaller bits, power a Jedi's lightsaber.
Yeah, that threw me off too, because I'm like, so literally it's the holy place. It's the Holy Land.
Yeah, that, like they call it the Holy City. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, there's obviously more lore behind that, but even I was kind of like, I don't understand why they said that.
No, not that. Like, it just reminded me of like our world, and I'm like, they just blew up a holy city or the holy city in an area that looked like the Middle East. I'm like, what the fuck is going on in my Rogue One?
Right. I think it was more like Desert Planet. It's supposed to be more of like a parallel to Tatooine, but like that does seem a bit off. Putting it together like that makes it feel weird. Yes.
Yeah, because like, and I don't want to be the person that like, I don't want to be the person, because again, I'm not trying to make jokes here and be like, oh, isn't that funny? No, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, we're sitting here watching Rogue One, and like, ba 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 da da, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, that place looks like, you could even argue that in some ways parts of it look like Agrabah. And I'm like, what's going on here, guys? Why is this happening here? And it's like, Matt, there's Asian people around. It's not specifically meant to be like the Middle East. Like, Matt, you're going crazy. You're just an idiot. And, you're just putting things together that aren't really put together. Although it does look like it came off of the set of Indy. Don't stick by that, Matt. But other than that, Matt, you're going cray. And then all of a sudden it's like, yes, it's the holy place. What did he just said holy? He said it. Not me. Matt didn't say it. So that was a thing.
I mean, I'll even say even the way some of Saw's rebels were dressed kind of made me feel weird too.
Thank you. Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. Wait, never mind. I mean, granted, they are in a desert, so they kind of have to dress like that to cover their face.
You would have similar garb in that sense. But
thank you. Thank you. I had forgotten. Matt had forgotten. Tristan's helping me in this. Thank you. I'm not going crazy. I mean, I am, but still, that makes sense.
Yeah, I noticed it too, and it's a little weird. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Like, I love this series, and I love this movie, but that was, like, I feel like you drove the parallels between our world and a galaxy far, far away. It's like, you kind of pushed the point a little too much in that regard, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
also something really terrible. I'm watching, that might have seemed terrible. This is actually funny. So let's jump back to funny things, guys. So I'm watching, as everyone knows, right, if you've listened to this podcast for a long time, you know that I have the movies on in the background as we podcast on them. So movies on in the background, and the Empire's sitting around like, oh shit, we're being invaded, everyone. And so at one point, one of the staff says, "Are we blind?" And I'm laughing really
Krennic.
hard.
Yeah.
Oh, so Krennic says it because the subs are on. I don't know who's saying it. Krennic says, "Are we blind?" And I'm laughing harder than I should.
Yeah. Oh no, that was hysterical. No, like he even says, he's like, as things are blowing up and the alarms are going off, "Are we blind? Deploy the garrison!" Like, do I have to seriously give the order right now?
No, I'm laughing because it's like, "Are we blind?" And all I could hear is, "Nope, but the monk is." That's why I'm horrible.
Lying. Right. Well, no, like
when they put the thing on him.
That was one of the funniest lines of the whole movie. It's like, "Are you serious? I'm blind."
Because you can hear it coming.
Oh yeah. Well, he can feel the bag over his head too. Like, "Are you serious right now?"
Well, no. He said it before they put the bag over his head completely, because I think they had to let the whole line come out. But he can hear it, and he's like, "Are you serious?" That was, I think, one of my favorite lines was, "I'll be here for you, Jin."
Oh yeah.
Because Cassian said I had to. Cassian said I had to, and then walks away.
K2SO is probably my favorite droid. Like, he takes the cake as my favorite droid, and like, I loved BB-8 in Force Awakens. I love R2-D2, but oh geez, K2SO really takes the cake. Like, his almost all of his lines are fucking gold, and it's beautiful. I think my favorite one from him was when they were scrambling out of the fight in Jeddah, and when Jyn kind of, she has Cassian's back and hits the stormtroopers with the baton she has, and then she shoots the Imperial droid that's coming up behind them, and he walks up and he goes, Did you know that wasn't me? And she's like, yeah, of course. And then stormtroopers are coming in, and he's like, oh, well, I, figured I should come and see if you guys were okay because, there were a lot of explosions for, people blending in. And he catches the thermal detonator, and he just holds it there for a few seconds. It's going to go off. And Jyn and Cassian are just like, you want to, Jyn's like, you want to throw that? And he just tosses it nonchalantly behind him and blows the stormtroopers up. And he's like, but you're right. I should just wait back at the ship.
But here's a question about thermal detonators, and I might be an idiot here. Thermal means it reacts to heat?
No, I think that was just a cool name. They gave it to be instead of just calling it a grenade, they're like, yeah, let's give it a really sci-fi spin and call it a thermal detonator.
Because here's why. Because technically, technically, the robot holding it is meaningless then.
Right. No, I don't know if that has if the name has any specific meaning like that. I don't think it does.
Okay. No, or at least he's timing it out because he knows, no, it'll go off in, it'll go off in, 5 seconds, so I can talk and then throw it, and then I'll explode.
Right. No, I think
really
he was
funny,
just screwing with them.
I love him so much. I love it, too, because it's such, a small little thing. His programming means that he blurts out whatever comes to his head.
Yeah.
And just the things that come out of that robot's mouth.
And it's not even just it's off the top of his head, so it's it doesn't make sense or it's awkward or it's no, it feels like it's completely calculated. It's do you want to know the odds of her using that blaster against you? It's no, not right now. We're taking off. They're high. They're very high. Or even when they're going to land on Scarif, it's we'll just transmit the access codes and, they'll let us in. And he's like, well, if they haven't, been logged as overdue. And it's and Jin's like, well, what happens then? Oh, then they close the gate. And he goes, and we blow up in the cold vacuum of space. He's like, not me. And it's we die in the cold, lonely vacuum of space. Not me. They both look at him. I can survive in space.
I love this character so much. Yes. Also, I can't believe I must have been looking down, writing notes at the time. I can't believe that I wasn't able to catch the cameo with C-3PO and R2-D2, just kind of standing there menacingly. Yeah.
There's even another cameo of another droid from Rebels too. It's very brief, and you won't know it. I didn't even see it the first time either, but it's funny how much they tied in the animated series with this movie, as parallels, as kind of going on at the same time, sort of deal.
No, it's funny. It makes a lot of sense. Yes, when you make a series, an animated series that is supposed to be a bridge between 3 and 4, and then you make a movie that's a bridge between 3 and 4, if the two didn't interact, I kind of would have been a little bit disappointed.
Because there's even, when they're at Yavin Base, there is a line, you probably wouldn't have really thought of it as much of anything, but there's a line that says, Captain Syndulla, please report to the command room for yada yada, and it trails off when the one communications guy is running out, Senator, half the fleet's just left to fight at Scarif, what are we going to do? It's they say it in there, and it's Captain Syndulla, I know who that is.
Right. Okay. So that's very interesting. So I can't wait for us to do that show in the future. Sadly, we have to kind of wrap things up a little bit. The one thing I'll say before we wrap things up is, this movie wasn't as good as I thought it'd be. Again, too much hype. but it also wasn't as bad as some other people may have. The things that people said were bad, the little things that I picked up on, that, you know, some people said, oh, I didn't like this, I didn't like this. I don't think they were as bad as people said that they were. So I think this is a movie that everyone should see. I don't think this is something that people should skip. And I know it kind of sounds like my mantra, like, oh, don't skip. But I really feel like this is a movie that really does fit in well with the mythos. And also, like Tristan did say, and, you know, it may have come off a certain way when he said it, but his point still stands, in my opinion. If this really does upset you, just even the concept of it existing, just don't watch it. You know, like if you listening to this podcast didn't sway you, if you haven't seen it yet and you're still thinking, no, I really don't want to see this because of whatever reason, then that's fine. Because in a way, it doesn't hurt episode 4. In fact, it definitely helps it, you know, by explaining how the Death Star plans came to them. And also something I really enjoyed about the movie is that something that didn't really I pick up on at first. Even though in the first 30 minutes, right, we have Jin figure out, oh snap, you know, my dad put a failsafe, you know, in the Death Star that will cause us to help destroy it. They don't know where it is yet. Because you and I, everyone knows where it is. So we're like, wait, so then, like, in my head, I was like, so movie's over?
Right. Well, because that's
like,
why.
No.
That's why Galen Erso even says, like, yes, I've set this in motion, but you still need the technical readout of the battle station to understand and to know what to strike, you know, to actually affect it. So that's the whole reason they have to go after the plans in the first place, because it's like, okay, so we know it has a weakness. Now we have to analyze it and understand technically, like physically, what that means.
Exactly. But, but anyway, so back to what I was saying, yes, I would definitely say that people should go out and watch this movie if they haven't already, because, you know, despite what I've said about this, right, despite that I've said that, you know, the plot itself may be a little thin, the characters, I really do think that you can enjoy the characters. Maybe not connect to all of them in a way where every single one feels like you feel sad about their death. I got to be very honest with you. Where even the two main characters, I was like, oh, this is sad, but really not as sad as the monk and not as, or, you know, Temple Guard, and not as sad as K2. I got to be honest with you. But even then, if those two characters resonate with you and if they don't annoy you, because some people have different tastes in comedy, if they don't annoy you, then I think you're really going to be sad when they pass on.
Right.
You know, I mean, especially K2, because I knew K2 died, because I forgot how, I think just the way people talked about him. They were like, the way everyone talked about him. They were like, I loved him so much, or like, man, K2 was amazing, and I'm like, so he fucking dies. But just the way he dies was so unexpected. Like, I thought they were all going to make it out alive, and he was going to be the one to sacrifice himself. But really, you know, yes, he sacrificed himself, but he had no choice to, because he had been shot a few times already. And I'm like, oh my God, no. No.
And he was such a boss with the blaster, too. Like, there's one point Cassian's asking him something, and he just picks it up and shoots the stormtrooper without even looking. And even the line where Jin's like, you know, she says, you'll need this, right? And she hands it to him, and he's like, Jyn Erso, your behavior is still completely foreign to me. You know, like giving her the compliment, but in a roundabout, sarcastic way, but it's still a compliment in a sense, like in his own way. Oh,
well, it's very interesting compliment.
Continually unexpected.
Yeah, it's very but it's such a beautiful compliment though, coming from a robot who calculates everything.
Right.
No, that's actually one of the nicest things he's ever said throughout the movie, because literally, like, that moment, I was like, oh no, this is being the last. Like, I was like, oh no, he's going to die, because like it is the saddest thing to have like in a good way, to have a robot who looks at every single calculation and sits there and goes, you surprised me.
Yeah.
That it's God. Anyway, I'm gonna cry over a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is one last scene that I would want to just hit on real quick before we end.
Okay.
So Vader's pun aside, I feel like the ending sequence with him completely, like, I looked at it, I'm like, all right, I'll forgive you for the Vader pun, because you gave me this. Because holy shit. Like, I'm going to be real. That was one of the most, just Vader, in a sense, like, people always, I always hear complaints about how we shouldn't have had Vader's backstory, like being Anakin, because it kind of ruins. It not only gave you a flimsy start to him and a character that a lot of people dislike, but it also kind of in a way ruined the character that he becomes in the original trilogy, the perfect villain, quote unquote. Maybe not perfect, but
I may have said that.
An iconic
not
villain.
Not verbatim, but
right.
I may have said stuff like that.
Right, but here, holy you get to see Vader just be Vader. I think what really hit it so hard for me was, it's like, yeah, we forget sometimes how dangerous Vader seems. It's like, because, you know, he fights against Luke, and it's like, it's another Jedi. It's somebody who can hold their own against the Sith. It's like, when you throw him out at just regular troopers, and just how maniacal he really is, there's a point where there are 4 Rebel Alliance troopers in front of him. He uses the Force to take away their blasters, and then he dices them up. He doesn't even have to do that. He can deflect the bolts.
Mm-hmm.
He takes away the only thing that they think they can use to defend themselves against him, which they already pretty much know that they can't. But he literally takes away all hope they have, or even false hope that they have, of getting out of that situation, and then slaughters them. Even the guy at the door, when he realizes, I can't get the door open, we need to get these plans out, it's the only hope that the Alliance has, just take them, I know I'm dead. Vader stabs him through the fucking door just to open the damn door. Vader, it's like Vader didn't even realize there was someone there. It's like, oh shit, I just stabbed someone.
Yeah, I do think we should have had less Vader in the movie overall, but that scene was definitely a great addition. Because again, yeah, in a weird way, you kind of do need to remind people how badass Vader is, especially if in the future they are going to make that Vader movie. And also, most importantly, you do want a little bit of a tie-in back into Episode 4, other than the movie, because of course the movie is tying in Episode 4. But I do think that you know it's good to have Vader doing that, and then of course having Leia be like, I have the plans, and then we cut. Yeah, right. And then we end the film.
It literally ends right where Episode 4 picks up. It's like the chase of Vader's Star Destroyer going after Leia's transport.
I would have preferred it to be a after-credit sequence, but still, I'm happy it was there. Well, no, I think it would have been nice, like, to just, you know, have the movie end, and then all of a sudden it's just like, wait a minute, what? Vader's destroying stuff? Or at least having Leia's line be.
Right. Leia's line, in a way, like, I understand, like, looking back, like, seeing it a few times, I understand why they did Leia's line the way they did, but at first, it did feel a little bit jarring to me, too, seeing the 2 main characters go out in their blaze of glory and not having that be the ending. But in the sense, they still have to leave you with, it's okay, guys, like, yes, their sacrifice was honorable and it was terrible that they died, but you know, remember, we still see A New Hope. Like, that was the first one. They do it. They pull it off. They did it.
I feel like it's funny. I said it should have been after credit sequence. I feel like someone vetoed that because they're like, we're not making an after credit sequence for a movie that premiered in 1977.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like that was just like, no, we're not fucking doing this. Anyway. We're going to end things here. I want to thank you all for listening to another episode of Star Wars Wednesday that we're doing. It's sad. We postponed Clone Wars, but hey, we did Rogue One. Just came out. Good stuff. So can't wait for Episode 8. That'll be very interesting. Maybe that one will try and do well. It's in theaters. It's funny. I sound like I'm putting it on you as if it's not like I couldn't see it. Anyway, so I want to thank you guys. Love that you're here. Want to mention that if you want to get some of our amazing merchandise, oh snap, merchandise? Those guys has merchandise. Yes, we have merchandise. You can get our merchandise over at our main website, which is tgproduction.net/merchandise, or thoseguysradio.tumblr.com/merchandise. Also, you can get it over at our eBay, which is Those Guys Radio. We have a bunch of different T-shirts that are for our podcast and our Let's Plays. What Those Guys do Let's Plays? We do Imaginary Person. You can actually go find our Let's Plays over at Those Guys Play, which is our YouTube channel. Search up Those Guys Play, and you can see an abundance of games we've played. I mean, we've actually played Star Wars Battlefront to Tristan's dismay. And we actually have some more Battlefront coming out in the near future, so that'll be a lot of fun. And also, we have Season 3 coming up next month, early next month. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry, this month. It is, April's coming up. So we have new episodes coming out of Those Guys Play Season 3, which was on a hiatus for the month of March, but month of April, coming back, and we're finishing it. So that'll be a heck of a lot of fun. And Tristan and I, actually, for this season, we already played Dragon Ball Z Budokai, which we spun off into the series Those Guys Play Dragon Ball Z, and we've played already Budokai. We've also delved into Infinite World, and we've even played some other Dragon Ball Z games that will come out on the show next month. So a lot of fun there. Also, by the time this comes out, you guys, if you're fans of our Let's Plays, you may have seen Those Guys Play Kingdom Hearts, which is actually, right now, it's Matt Marrero playing Kingdom Hearts. And it'll we'll start doing more Kingdom Hearts games with other hosts, and it'll be a lot of fun. So there's a lot of stuff you can check out on our Those Guys Play YouTube channel. You can also listen to our podcast through our Those Guys on the Radio YouTube channel. Those are where our archives are. And assuming you're listening to a podcast right now, don't know where you're listening to it. You could be listening to it through Those Guys on the Radio YouTube channel. You could also be listening to it through our Those Guys iTunes account, where you search up Those Guys on iTunes. You can find our podcast through there. Or maybe you're listening to it through Blog Talk on the Radio, which is Those Guys on the Radio. You can find us through Blog Talk Radio by searching up Those Guys on the Radio. Many different ways you could be listening to us. And yeah, I think I've done it, Tristan. So anyway, I want to thank you all for listening in, as always, as I keep on doing, because really you guys here help us be a thing. So that's nice. Isn't it nice? That's how we ended on a nice note. No one died this podcast, Tristan.
We have hope.
Isn't that special?
Yes.
All right, we have hope. All right, everyone. So thank you all, and have a good night. So say good night, Tristan.
Good night, everybody, and may the Force be with you.
I am one with the Force, and the Force is one with me. I am one with the Force, and the Force is one with me. I am one with the Force, and the Force...